Making your way through work Monday takes everything you got. Then Monday night rolls around and you realize there's a shot. You're only 10 points away. All those times when your team had no fight, they're just so gosh darn frail. Then your star quarterback let another deep ball sail, and your third round pick bet on his team. Then go check out our streets where everybody knows your pain, and they listen to complaints. You wanna be where you can see our bodies bring you no shame. You wanna go where everybody knows your pain.
Welcome into another edition of the Dad Bod Fantasy Squad. I'm Rob, and it's Monday, so I'm here with the one and only Alex. What's going on, buddy?
Not much, man. Just, wiping my tears away.
Yeah, playoff time.
Yeah.
Everyone who's out, grab a beer, sit back, enjoy Monday night. Don't worry about your lineups.
Yeah.
You can think about it all off season. House is out tonight, so it's just going to be me and Alex going through Monday Night Football and our winners and losers from the previous week. And we're going to try to get you guys ready for, hopefully, your second round of playoffs. How do you do this week, Alex?
One is still up in the air against House. House has got Aaron Jones, so it depends on that. And
how much you up?
I think like 15.
Okay.
So it's like going to be really, really. No, I'm up 10.
Okay, it's doable. I mean, Aaron Jones will put up 20 or he'll put up 2.
Yeah. So I need it to stay below 10, and then the other one I was also a 3 seed. And
man, I wish House was here now.
Yeah, just because House took me out of the playoffs last year in that league, and he ended up winning that league.
He did.
So I think I was the 3 seed last year, and I'm the 3 seed this year, and I'm playing House again back-to-back times, and I'm just thinking,
Flicka. I'm coming for it this year.
Yeah, you've got a legit team, so I just don't want to lose the House. That's the worst thing on the planet. It's like losing to Mario. If I lose to either of those guys, I'm just gonna drown myself in my toilet.
It looks like I'm playing Mario next week in our other Dynasty League. I'm up 58 going into tonight. He has A-Rod and Christian Watson. So I'm feeling confident, but crazier things have happened.
What's the probability Mario dresses up in a leprechaun outfit for that matchup and just dances around his house?
He needs all the luck because he's got Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown. So kind of a big ding to both of his kind of main pieces on that team. So I'm feeling if I can get through tonight, this might be a full week of shit talking from me to Mario all week. I'm excited. I can't wait.
Oh, yeah. We all love that.
We already kind of started going back and forth a little bit, but I don't want to count my chickens just yet. I'm gonna sit back and relax and watch this game all the way to the end. I'm a little nervous. You never know with Christian Watson. He can do some crazy stuff. But let's get you ready for tonight. Rams at the Packers. For the Rams, I want to talk about Cam Akers. I think he's kind of the main one of this team that you'd be playing. Could be a DFS play if you guys are if we're talking about it tonight, or maybe you're between Cam Akers and like Aaron Jones or AJ Dillon, so we could kind of talk about it. What do you think for him tonight against? I mean, Green Bay's been atrocious defensively for the past month. Are you looking for a big game or kind of a Cam Akers game of like 10 to 15?
I'm thinking Cam Akers game. He's the only guy there, so he's going to get the touches. I mean, the benefit of having Cam Akers, unlike having like a Miles Sanders, is, you don't have a scrambling quarterback.
Yeah.
You don't have other running backs that you got to worry about. You don't have receivers you have to worry about, really. Like, yeah, you have Van Jefferson, but it's just he's there by default. So I think if you had that spot open, you are playing him. I think he's a solid play. I think he can get you anywhere between 8 and 15 points.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for. I don't think it'll be a crazy game. I mean, we know what he is at this point, I feel like. Coming off that injury this season, he doesn't look great, to be honest. I mean, he's going to get like 60 to 70 yards and hopefully find the end zone once or twice. For the Packers, let's talk about those running backs. Are you in on either of them? Are you playing either of them? Who's the guy to own of the two for tonight against the Rams?
I hate saying it, but Aaron Jones. I hope he sucks. Sorry, you owners of Aaron Jones, but that Rams defense is only doing really one good thing right now, and that's stopping the run. And A.J. Dillon has been pretty solid of late.
Mm-hmm.
But Aaron Jones is going to just be, in theory, he's going to be a PPR machine tonight. I hope it doesn't happen, but
yeah, let's pull up some of these weekly finishes. I'm curious where A.J. Dillon. So he's RB31 on the year.
Right.
Last two games, he's been RB13 and RB6. And Aaron Jones in the same span, 11 and 29. He was hurt, though, right?
Yeah.
Aaron Jones is coming off an injury, but they had to bye. So he should be back to full strength, probably.
My odds aren't looking very good.
We'll see. It's gonna be a close one. Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see. But let's get into some of the winners and losers from the week. So we're gonna do this a little bit differently as how we have been doing it. We're gonna talk about they're gonna be winners and losers, but they're also gonna be kind of fringe start sits for the playoffs coming up for next week. I got matchups and stuff like that, so we can kind of talk about it and dive into it a little bit more in depth for next week since we are in the playoffs. So let's start with the quarterback position. Let's get into Kirk Cousins. Definitely a tale of two halves for Cousins and the Vikings offense. I think he might have been negative points in the first half, and then he finished as QB1 so far on the week. He's got the Giants coming up next. Do we trust him moving into next week against the Giants?
I mean, honestly, if you're winning this week and you're going into next week, the probability of you having a top 5 quarterback is probably pretty high. So are you going to start him over a guy like Burrow? I mean, if you have like Jalen Hurts, that's probably the only scenario I see myself playing Kirk.
What about like a lot of people probably have
you have Mahomes,
Kirk and Trevor Lawrence, or Kirk and like Dak Prescott.
I probably play Kirk over Prescott.
He is we could get into him. He's my QB2 of kind of that fringe. Like he had a good game, fringe starting quarterback. He's got Philly this week.
Right.
So is he kind of the back end of like, okay, I'll play him in the playoffs as opposed to like we said, Kirk Cousins, Lawrence. Let's see who my QB losers are. We can kind of talk about them too. Geno Smith, Herbert.
I mean, Herbert is.
Herbert's in my loser. He had a terrible game up against one of probably the worst pass defense.
It was the 32 ranked pass defense.
Yeah, so like, he's got Indy next week. Can you even play him? Depends on who you have, right? But
it literally depends on who you have. I mean, the options are like if you have Kirk Cousins and you have Herbert, that's tough. I mean, you would think there's more consistency with Herbert with his weapons being healthy, but then you watch games where it's like he still looks young and he still throws some bad passes and he still holds the ball too long. Where
he's pressing. You can see it. Like he's trying to do way too much.
And it's like Kirk, you want him to have that pressure because when the pressure is on Kirk to press, like you see what happens in the second half. And it's like, oh yeah, I have Osborne, I have Adam Thielen, I have Justin Jefferson, and I have Hawkinson, I have Dalvin Cook. It's like, dude, you have an offense that is a top 3 offense on paper, probably only behind the Eagles and maybe only the Eagles. Like
Yeah,
you have,
Kirk's,
or the Bengals. You know, like you have the same amount of weapons as the Bengals and the Eagles have. So you're looking at like Keenan Allen, where it's like Keenan Allen's been solid. Has he been amazing? No. Mike Williams has great games and not good games, and I think Kirk as a passer right now is better than Justin Herbert.
he's hot. He's hot. I mean, he's got 3 of the last 4 games. He's a top 10. The last 2, he's been QB5 and he's QB3 on here. I thought I saw QB1. Guess it depends on what format you're.
And the Vikings are playing for the playoffs. You know, like it's.
What about like Jared Goff and Kirk? Who does Detroit got?
It's all matchup based.
Let me pull up who's got.
I was gonna say, because Goff has been consistent. He's
Carolina.
safe. That's hard.
Yeah.
If it were me personally, I'm playing Jared Goff.
Giants are tough.
Yeah.
They've been a stingy defense as of late, especially to quarterbacks. Kirk's an interesting one this week for me. I don't know where to rank him. He's super hot right now.
He's top 10 in the week.
We saw what he did.
5?
He's top 5 for sure. I mean, he had a week, but like you see, just that first half, you're like, what the hell? And then he comes out and lights it up in the second half. It's just like, what happened? You know, like where was that?
Play calling and getting aggressive.
Possibly. Yeah, maybe it was just an aggressive like mindset of the coaching staff to just.
You're down 33 points, like, and that's the thing with leads too. And it was the same thing with the Patriots, where it's like you're up 33 points, teams get relaxed, and they're almost playing as if it's the fourth quarter, and you're allowing them to just get chunk yards. But when you have a team like the Vikings, those chunk yards become into 60-yard plays and 50-yard plays. So,
yeah.
I mean,
they were playing soft.
And it wasn't against a good team.
No, it was not.
So
their secondary's been getting beat up pretty good the past like month. Let's talk about one more guy, Geno Smith. He had a rough game against San Francisco, so it's tough to hold him accountable for that. He's got Kansas City this week. Lockett's hurt with the broken finger. Are we concerned because Lockett's out?
Yeah. I think you're a little concerned. I think you've kind of seen with Geno, like he gets the ball to Lockett when he's open, and then he throws the ball to Metcalf more when he's covered. Like he wants the ball going to Metcalf. And since that's hard, Lockett being away, it's going to be more coverage on him. And in general, the Seahawks have just not been as good. They started off really strong and they just tapered off. Geno at one point was like QB4.
Yeah, I have him at QB7 right now.
So it's just, to me, he's just going to start teetering off the top, out of the top 10.
Would you do Geno or Kirk?
Kirk. And it's just because of the weapons.
Yeah, he's another one. I mean, you got Kansas City this week, who's been so bad against the pass, but he's missing Lockett. He's a tough one too. There's a lot of question marks at the quarterback position this week with the injuries and tough matchups and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully we'll dive a little bit more in depth later in the week for you guys to kind of get you ready for that position, because to me it's the toughest of the bunch besides tight end, because we know that it's just kind of crapshoot there. But we'll try to dive a little bit more in depth later on. Let's get into the running backs. I'm going to throw this one to you because you were adamantly against him last week. Jerick McKinnon, he's back on the list. Is it 2 fluke weeks in a row, or is it time to start talking about a flex position here?
He's a flex.
Seattle. He's got Seattle up this week.
Yeah.
Are you plugging him in?
Yeah. You have to, for me, it's like you have to see it consistently for me to be comfortable to play him. Depending on who you had on your team, obviously, there were some who played him and some who didn't. What I would say is at one point he was going to be the starting running back for the Niners. They paid him as a starting running back at the Niners, but it was just injury. The dude's quick. When the ball's in his hands, he's a freak of nature. He's not, Pacheco is their guy, but McKinnon has been better out of the backfield receiving and in the slot. Yeah.
Seems like he fits this offense.
Yeah, he's like a Travis Kelce for Mahomes. He's just going to be there at the right time and do what he needs to do. He's honestly kind of filling that Tyreek Hill role, with gadget plays and stuff like that. So I'd feel comfortable starting him.
So do I. I think you hit the nail on the head. He's like the gadgety kind of play, which is what Kansas City loves to do. You see it the past 2 weeks. I mean, the guy has been unbelievable when they get him the ball. So I think going into the playoffs, they're going to try to utilize him a little bit more and get him ready for when they get into the playoffs.
It's like Darren Sproles.
Yeah. It's a perfect comparison. My next RB is J.K. Dobbins, 13 for 125 yards. He should have had more carries because he was torching the Browns defense. He's had back-to-back really nice weeks. He's got Atlanta and then Pittsburgh. Are you comfortable playing him?
Yeah.
No questions?
I mean, you've got to push aside the injuries he's had. So it's like he came off of a major injury, then had another injury. Edwards is good. He's a good complementary back. And, it's not that Edwards looked bad, but the question was always when JK's healthy, is he really that guy? He had, 6 to 8 games his first year where those are the only games he played, and every game he played was great. And he averaged over 6 yards per carry. And you were questioning whether he can do it again. And then the injury happened. And again, so if he's healthy, you've got to play him. That offense is running through the run game. They don't do anything else.
They can't with Huntley back there.
And
you would think they're playing for the playoffs. They're right in contention.
Defense has been playing solid enough.
Defense has been playing really well since they traded for Roquan Smith. You would think that they would try to keep revving up J.K. Dobbins for the playoff push and give him more and more carries and touches, trying to win these next couple upcoming games, because if they do, they're in. And you would think that he's for sure their best offensive weapon besides Mark Andrews. So he
might be better than Mark Andrews at this point.
I told you, man, like Mario asked, where was CPAT this week? For me, that backfield is such a crapshoot. Like 1 week they'll go CPAT, 1 week they'll go Algier. I think they want to see what they have in the rookies at this point in the season. So I think
Algier's a better back.
I agree.
He is
with that.
An actual running back.
I think CPAT's a good kind of gadgety player guy that you can throw in situations, and he's a bowling ball at the goal line, so like that works for him. But
he's not even
really like Algier. I think he's good.
It's like he's like a lightweight version of Brandon Jacobs on the goal line, but he's not super big.
I was worried about him at the beginning of the season because of how much he was trying to run everybody over. If you watch his
tall and he's fast, but that's the problem. It's like he's trying to just straight line run through people because he is fast and tall and he's got a little bit of weight, but he's not a true running back. I mean, he was drafted in the first round coming out of college as a wide receiver, and then he wasn't a good wide receiver. He was a kick returner, punt returner, because he's big, fast, and could take some hits. The problem is he is not agile like a running back. He's not. And he's better.
Like
he's just better.
Yeah. And again, man, I think where they are in the season and what's going on in that with the Falcons in general, like they're going to want to see what they have in the rookies. So I think it's going to be a lot of Tyler Algier the next 2 weeks, to be honest. Sure. So if I have CPAT, I probably will not play him. Moving forward.
Nope.
So RB losers, let's get into them. Yeah, we talked about the winners. Tampa Bay, both of them.
Yeah.
Can we trust either of them? They're playing Arizona this week, whose defense is not great, but with how that the offense looked a little better this week, but still they just don't look good.
I would hate starting both of them. I feel like if you're going to start one of them, you're going to start White, but
Lenny had a better week.
Yeah, you really don't want to play either of them. And you drafted Lenny decently high.
Yeah.
But if you're in the playoffs at this point, you made moves elsewhere for RB, because if Lenny has been your like RB2 the entire season, there's no way you're still alive in the playoffs. You've got other players that have been replacing him, and I would continue to do that.
Yeah, for me too. I wouldn't play him. Like I would do everything I could to avoid playing either of them. I guess I would go Lenny just because I think he gets the goal line work on this team. They both get passes, so like they could be okay there. But I just don't love it, man. I wouldn't about it. Yeah, something about it is just off. And then Miles Sanders was my other loser of the week. What happened in this game for him to put up, what do you have, 2 points this week? He's got Dallas coming up this week, who's another good run defense. If you have him, it would be so hard to sit him.
You're starting him. Jalen Hurts is out.
Fair point.
Miles Sanders, the only reason why he didn't do, all right, so he had a fumble loss. He had a pass play that was negative 13 yards reception that hurt, and Jalen Hurts took every goal line carry, which is going to backfire, like I've been saying all year, with Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. At some point, those goal line carries that you're giving to quarterbacks are going to hurt you at the end of the year. There's a reason why Pat Mahomes stopped doing that. Like, they took that out of the playbook. They're like, we're not doing this anymore. It's not worth it. I think the Eagles are going to have to realize that. Like, yeah.
Do we know who the backup quarterback is?
Gardner Minshew.
Is it Minshew?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mario Camara.
So, are you concerned about A.J. Brown?
No. Gardner Minshew, it's like, not Chris Collinsworth, but other journalists have come out and said, like, Jalen Hurts can't be the MVP because Gardner Minshew in this office is still good. Is he is he as good as Jalen Hurts? Probably not. But Gardner Minshew, with the weapons that the Eagles have, is still going to be a good quarterback. It's like Purdy. We talk about Purdy all the time. Gardner Minshew is better than Purdy, and he's got the same weapons.
Maybe more.
So, to me, this is if you're having a sneaky play, DFS, you're going Gardner Minshew. You're starting Miles Sanders because he's going to get those carries.
Who has enough sack to start Gardner Minshew this week?
If you've got Jalen Hurts and nobody's available in your waiver wire quarterback,
Mario.
Mr. Mario.
Minshew's an interesting. I mean, dude, he could.
He could ball out.
He could ball out.
Dallas's defense has been suspect on the pass.
I have Geno, so I'm going to start Geno. But man, I would lie if I said I didn't think. I'm not thinking about it.
Minshew did pretty decent with scrubs at the Jags.
Man, he's got AJ. He's gonna chuck the ball to AJ.
Bro, Devontae Smith, AJ. I think Goddard wasn't activated, so I don't think he's playing this week. But didn't they lose their left tackle too? Did the Eagles just lose their left? So that hurts. But they're still loaded on the offensive line outside the left tackle now. But he might be a sneaky play. If you're hurting and you can't get a QB, there's worse options.
Do I do it or do I not?
That's tough.
Let's get into wide receivers while we're kind of talking about them. Zay Jones, 8 targets, 6 receptions, 109 yards, 3 touchdowns. The last 3 of 4 games, he's had over 20 points per game. They are playing the Jets this week. Are we playing him?
Dude, the chemistry is there. We kind of heard it in training camp, and there was some, chatter in our group about how Zay Jones is the most overpaid wide receiver in the NFL, and that the Jags overpaid for him.
Mario. That was all Mario.
Yeah, I don't want to just rag on Mario the whole episode, but it was Mario.
I was in there too a little bit.
Yeah, and I never said that Zay Jones was a good receiver, but I was also like, his contract's not great, but it's not as bad as we really thought. And now it's like, yeah. Now you're looking at like Trevor Lawrence has legit chemistry with him.
Yeah.
Zay Jones is taking big hits while
He's
catching
been balling,
the ball.
Man.
So if you had him in the flex this week, you're playing him in the flex this week again.
Yeah, you're probably right.
ETN
he's wide receiver 20. He's finished top 10 wide receivers in 4 or 5. Or I'm sorry, 3 or 4.
Yeah.
3 or 4.
Oh, 3 or 4. So 3 or 5, then, basically.
Yeah, 3 or 5. But he was 13th in that
You're
5th week.
Him,
yeah,
Trevor Lawrence.
It's hard not to, right?
He loves him. He loves Zay Jones. And when you get near the end zone, he's going Zay Jones.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, Christian
That's
Kirk's kind of taking
target.
a back seat to Zay the past month.
Well, Kirk is getting guarded as the number 1, and you're seeing it. And Kirk still looks good, and he's still making catches, but Zay is just bodying people up in the air. He's just using his body to get those possession catches. And Trevor's, he's feeling comfortable. Like, if I'm in trouble, if both of them are guarded, I'm throwing it to Zay Jones.
Yeah, you're right. I think you're right. It's if I have him, I'm playing him.
You have to. You'd be an idiot. Because at this point, like, if you did bench him and you made it to this point, you're looking at the 30-plus points. Like, I can't do this again.
Yeah, 100%.
I might as well run into a semi in oncoming traffic.
Yeah. All right, so let's keep going on the wide receiver position. DJ Moore, 2 of the last 3 weeks, has over 18 fantasy points. But that week that he did not, he only had 1 point. Is there a world that we're starting DJ Moore in the playoffs against Detroit?
Hell nah. Nah. No way. You're not playing him. If injuries happen, it's like you're looking at the 18 points the last 2 weeks. And you're like, man, that's cool, but he didn't get me here. He was not relevant in my fantasy push. I'm not risking it.
Yeah, it's risky, man. That's a risky start.
It's okay to die on that hill because you have a 30% chance of it happening again. Like, it's okay. You don't need to do it.
The sauce covers it. I would say, yeah. Kirk's in the slot a ton. I don't think Sauce goes into the slot too much. If ever, to be honest, I'd have to look that up. But I would think Sauce is on Zay a lot this week, especially how well he's been playing, which is my concerns. I do have concerns for Zay, but it would be so hard to sit him in because he's probably your flex.
Let's be honest. Is Doug Peterson an idiot?
No.
So do you think he's going to scheme it to where, hey, we know Zay Jones at the ball has been good. Let's scheme it to where let's play Zay out of the slot a little bit more. Let's put Kirk
I don't know.
outside.
See, like I would say he has enough weapons on that team where he could say, okay, take Zay out of the game. We're going to go to Kirk and Evan Ingram out of the slots and and beat you that way.
I mean, Ingram's just been balling out too. They're just what I like of what they've been doing is they literally don't look the same every week.
Yes.
So they are scheming matchup by matchup. Ingram is getting moved around. Zay Jones is getting moved around. Christian Kirk is being moved around. To be honest, in this game, I would feel confident playing all three.
It's interesting. It's a tough man. I wish they weren't playing the Jets this week. It's a tough. It's going to be an interesting game to watch. That's for sure. Because it's I mean, who'd they just play? They just went up against a really good defense too.
Who are you talking about? The Jags?
Yeah. Was it Dallas?
Yeah, it was
Dallas.
No, Dallas was the Texans.
No, the Texans were 2 weeks ago, I think.
It was it was Dallas.
Okay.
So that they put 34 or they put 40 points. They beat Dallas. They put 40 points up on Dallas.
Yeah.
Like
They were putting up points, and Trevor Lawrence looks like a top 10 QB.
He's looking like the guy that was drafted number 1.
Yeah, I would still play him unless it's like a super close flex option between Zay and somebody else that has a really good matchup. But it would be so hard to sit Zay.
I mean, so the Jets just played the Lions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Lions beat them 20-17. Now the Lions are an above average offense. But are they a better offense than the Jaguars right now? I don't think so.
What did the receivers do?
I
know Shark put up like 2 points.
Amon had like
13.
Well, that's what I say. He had
Amon's
7,
out of the slot though, so that's kind of my curse.
He had 7 points. Raymond had 5. Like that's the thing. Like they have Chark, who's been, it's like he's had 2 good games the entire season. They lost their tight end, so their tight ends are, Hawkinson's not been there. Jameson Williams has played 1 game. This is the second game. So, like, Raymond was their second most targeted receiver. Behind. Yeah. So, if you're looking at the Jags offense, where you have Ingram blowing up, you have Zay Jones, you have Christian Kirk, you have Trevor Lawrence.
Man, wait till they add Calvin Ridley to the mix next season.
They're going to be
really good.
They're going to be a really good team. And, I mean, Doug Peterson is sitting there like, thank you for firing me. Like,
yeah. They could be, if they can figure that defense out a little bit, man, they can make some noise next year.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of these losers for the wide receiver position. Brandon Ayuk, very tough game this week. It looks like Kittle and CMC are kind of the benefactors of Purdy being in there.
Surprise.
Yeah, right. But, I mean, Purdy was throwing the ball fine. It's just like Ayuk really wasn't getting open. He was dropping passes. It didn't look good. Are you willing to play him in the playoffs?
Depending if like he's a second flex, maybe. But a rookie QB early, this is his going to go into his 3rd game.
Got some
his security blanket. Yeah, security blanket's going to be Kittle and C-Mac.
I think it all depends if Debo's back. To be honest, I think if Debo's back, I like Ayuk more than I do without Debo.
He's getting guarded as the number 1. There's worse plays, but I don't love it. His upside just isn't great. It's
capped right now.
Yeah, so
you're right. Yeah, there that big play kind of ability with Purdy's not there.
They're not. They don't need to do it. They don't need to risk it.
No, they don't. They just need to give CMC the ball.
Right. Just pound it.
Chris
Mason's
Olave
look good.
Yeah. Chris Olave, is he running into rookie fatigue? Last 5 games he's had 1 game over 11 points and 2 games over 11 points in his last 7. Like, can we? I know like the upside of what he is, but are you willing to risk what he's been doing?
It's tough. He's the only guy there, and
I mean, like, who would you play, Brandon Ayuk or Chris Olave?
Chris Olave. I'm probably playing Chris Olave.
Would you play Adam Thielen or Chris Olave?
Adam Thielen.
Yeah, right? Like, it's tough to play Chris Olave right now. He's been, and I don't want to blame him. I think it's a lot of just like Andy Dalton's not great. And he looks at the tight end a ton, which we're going to talk about, Juwan, in a minute, because, I mean, he's been great since when Andy Dalton's in there.
Right.
Would you play Jerry Jeudy or Chris Olave?
Jeudy with a healthy Russell Wilson, probably.
Okay, last one, and then we'll keep moving. DPJ.
DPJ.
Yeah, like that's where Chris Olave's at. You know what I mean? Like he's definitely only flex candidate for me, and it's like a very bottom of the rung.
Oh, he's a low end flex 2.
Yeah, he's flex 2 option, which is like you can't. I mean, in most formats with one flex, and we're in playoffs and stuff, it's like how can you plug him in?
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, it sucks because he was the first half of the season. He was unbelievable. I still don't know why they haven't gone back to Jameis, but is what it is.
It doesn't make sense. They're not winning anything. They might as well play Jameis. So
unless they're trying to lose, but who knows?
Then you should still play Jameis.
Yeah, you're right. And then last, I know like this is kind of an irrelevant question. I'm just kind of curious on your pulse here. You're gonna play him no matter what, but Davante Adams, what's your worry level at with him? He's got, I mean, the last 2 weeks, I think he's been under 10 points both weeks.
You're playing him. I mean, plain simple. It's like, like what was it? This past game was probably his second worst game of the season. He had 4 catches, 28 yards. He still had 9 targets. The week before, he only had 3 catches, 7 targets, but his upside is ridiculous. So you have to play him. I mean,
if you bench him, he'll be wide receiver 1.
He'll have Zay Jones numbers.
Yeah. 100%.
So you have to play him. You just got to be hopeful. I'm really, really interested to see what the Raiders do next year at QB. Because Derek Carr's got the chances. I think
they just paid him.
Yeah.
They got to go with him.
Who, with Derek Carr?
Yeah.
When did I thought his contract was from?
Didn't he just sign a massive contract?
I don't think so. Let's see. If they did, they're fools.
I'm pretty positive.
Yeah. I mean, he's signed
3 year,
121. Yeah, 3 years. So it was a 3-year contract.
They might be able to get out of it. I don't know. I don't know what the guarantee was or all that, and what the cap it'll be next.
I think the guarantee was actually pretty decent. Total guaranteed was $65 million. Guaranteed at signing was $25 million. So
the whole reason Davante came there too was Carr. So it'd be so hard to be like, "Thanks for coming, but your buddy's gone."
Yeah. Well, here's the thing too. It's like the dead cap for this year was $25 million. His signing, that the rest of it's like spread out, isn't really that terrible.
What's the dead cap next year?
$5 million.
That's it.
And then the year after that, it's $3 million. Then it's $1 million.
So they I guess they
front
could move
loaded.
on.
So I think with that contract, he's easily tradable.
Yeah.
To a team like the Patriots.
But where would they go?
At this point, you're not re-signing Josh Jacobs more than likely, even with his great year. If you are, you're giving him a 3-year contract.
I think they re-sign him. He's still young. He's 25.
Yeah, I think they give him a 3-year contract. You have Davante Adams. You're trying to trade to get somebody else, or
you got Waller. You need another receiver. But it's the defense, right? The defense has been so bad.
It's terrible.
I think it's play calling too. The play calling's been bad. It's been.
I mean, Derek Carr has looked.
So
play calling does so much, but it's if you look at Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins has had. Yeah, exactly. You put Aaron Rodgers on the Raiders, it's a whole nother ball game. But if you look at Kirk Cousins, he's had probably 6-7 offensive coordinators.
Yeah, that's the shitty part for him. I've always said that,
and he always
just kill quarterbacks.
But he's always found the way to perform, and it's you can only blame play calling so much to where quarterbacks got to find a way. You know the playbook. You're a quarterback. You know the playbook. You've got to figure out how to get the ball in there. I mean,
yeah, I think he'll. I for sure think he's coming back next year. I don't see a world where they move on. If they don't perform next season, then I agree with you. I think they'd get rid of him. But they paid him. They got Devontae Adams for him. Give him a second year in the offense and see what he can do. Maybe they'll like turn it around in the offseason and like get their stuff together. Get some defensive players for the guy.
The problem is he doesn't look better than he did last year. He's never a big touchdown guy. That's the problem with Derek Carr.
I thought it was gonna. I mean, I was saying top 5 QB this year for him.
I thought top 10 for sure.
Yeah, I thought he was. But he just doesn't throw touchdowns.
He doesn't throw touchdowns. That's not been his thing. And I don't think, regardless of who the play caller is, I think when it comes in that moment where he needs to put it in the end zone and he needs to throw it in there, it's like Devontae Adams says it. Like you're looking at him like you watch Kyler just force it into DeAndre Hopkins, and you watch even Geno force it into Metcalf. Like if you've got that receiver, you force it. You watch Joe Burrow throw passes to Jamar Chase. Like, why is he throwing that? It's because there's a more than likely chance he's going to find a way to get that ball.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll see what they do, but yeah. Anyways, long story short, you're playing him. That's what this combo boiled back down to.
You're playing Devontae Adams.
One last one because it's been on my mind. Michael Pittman Jr. He had a really nice week this week. It's against a bad defense. I mean, Minnesota's secondary has been getting destroyed the past month.
Yeah,
are you comfortable playing him?
Yes.
Who do they have? I had it on here.
You've got to play him. He's the best
Pittman.
offensive football. There's no JT. JT's out for the season.
That's a fair point.
They're going to have to throw the ball.
I'm not worried about Pittman, man. I'm worried about Matt Ryan. He sucks. He is so bad. It's unbelievable. But they have they don't have any better options. It's crazy.
They're throwing it. It doesn't matter. Pittman's going to get at least 10 targets.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Play him. Heat check real quick on 2 running backs I forgot to mention. Zonovan Knight.
I don't know.
Is he RB2 or lower?
I think he's lower. I think he's a flex.
What about Pacheco?
I think he's also a flex.
Yeah, it's tough. Man, Zonovan, he'd be tough to play next week after what he just did. I mean, he probably lost you the week, more than likely.
I was iffy about playing him last week.
I was in still.
Yeah, I was out. It's just the Jets train of running backs and their offense, and the only person I'm playing on the Jets offense is Garrett Wilson, and feeling kind of confident about it.
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about some tight ends really quick, and then we can get everybody out of here for some Monday Night Football coming up in 20 minutes. Let's talk about Juwan Johnson. We just mentioned him. I've been a big fan of him this season. I think he's just a really good player.
Yeah.
I think he fits the offensive scheme well, and I think Andy Dalton just likes to throw to the tight end position. Double-digit fantasy points in 4 of the last 5 games, and the one game he didn't was against San Francisco, which we know how good their defense is.
Yeah. Unless you're named Alex.
Must start, right?
Yeah, he's a must start.
He's got Cleveland this week. As a Cleveland fan, I can tell you without JOK in there, they will get destroyed against Juwan Johnson. So play him. I'm trying to get him in.
I would start the wide receiver, running back, and quarterback from the Texans against the freaking Browns at this point.
Come on, man. Let me live.
Let me live.
Cornerbacks have been playing a little bit better.
Yeah.
But
that's it.
Yeah, Alvin Kamara is about to go off for 50 points.
Well, you think that, and then they'd probably give Kamara 11 touches.
And Juwan Johnson, 20 targets, baby.
Dude, Juwan Johnson might have.
He's good.
He might win the league for you.
Dude, he is good, man. I've been saying it. He's just his route participation, his all those like weird advanced metric stats for tight ends. He is like up there with the best of them. With Travis Kelce, with Mark Andrews, with George Kittle. I mean, George Kittle's metrics suck, to be honest. That's why I've never been a big fan of drafting Kittle because, I mean, he's always good, but his route participation, all that stuff's always low. But
they run the ball man, and Kittle can block.
Yeah. They use Kittle to block a ton. But yeah, Juwan is. I'm with you. I think if you have him, or if you can go get him and pick him up right now and start him, he can definitely win that league for you. Or give you better chances than a lot of these other tight ends that we're talking. Like, I'd rather have Juwan than Pat Freiermuth. I'd rather have Juwan than
Cole Kmet.
Yeah, Cole Kmet, Conklin, Schultz at this point. A lot of people. I think he's like top 5.
He's borderline with, it's like you have Hawkinson and you've been playing him, but it's
I was gonna say Hawk, but I think I'm more comfortable playing Juwan Johnson right now than Hawk, to be honest. Like
Kirk didn't. I mean, there's games Kirk will look at Hawk, but maybe Hawk just isn't that amazing. But he's only. I mean, since he's been at the Vikings, he's been solid, but he's not been amazing. It's like one or two games are pretty solid, but like you're not ecstatic at him being a top 5 tight end because you're like, no, it's still not good.
No, I mean, since they really only started using Juwan Johnson when Andy Dalton came in, even kind of later, like it was like week 7, they really started using him. And since then, it's been 7 games because he was hurt 1 game and a bye. He's been 5 of the 7, he's been top 10. 3 of the 7, he's been top 5, and he's had 2 number 2s. Like I just think he's a really good tight end, and they use him well. So you can go get him and play him because with confidence, I'm all in on him.
Yeah. You play the hot players.
Yeah. Speaking of hot player, Dawson Knox.
I thought you were going to say Tom Brady by his looks, but it's okay.
I mean, he's getting old. He's getting old.
He's a hot 40, like 40.
You can see it in the face now.
The lack of food.
Just not eating because of his wife.
Yeah.
Dawson Knox back-to-back really nice games from Buffalo. My question is, was this game kind of fluky because of how bad the weather was?
Yeah, I'm not playing. I mean, if you have to play him, you play him, but it's Buffalo. You know how that goes. Gabe Davis is probably going to have 2 games where he blows up. I don't love it.
Would you rather him or Cole Kmet?
Cole Kmet.
Him or Tyler Conklin?
Knox.
Noah Fant.
Knox.
Yeah, he's like low end tight end 1.
Yeah.
But I don't love it. I'd be super nervous.
For sure.
Which, like, you can say that about 80% of the tight ends.
Yeah. Besides, like, 3 or 4 of them, you're nervous.
Yeah, the thing of it is, like, you just kind of hit it, like, play the hot hand. And right now, Knox is kind of a hot hand. But when he isn't, like, he's been top 5 in 3 of 5 games. But the other 2 games, he was tight end 32 and tight end 58.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, his cold is practically nothing. And that's where it kills you.
Cold. Yeah.
Yeah. And then last question real quick. Do we trust Waller now that he's back? He went 3 targets, 3 receptions, 48 and a touchdown. It's hard for me to believe that he's out there, but he could be. Maybe somebody dropped him, didn't want to wait. If you can snag him, pick him up, plug him in, I think he's a better option than 90% of the tight ends out there. So if he's there, go get him, play him, and go pick up Juwan Johnson is kind of the moral of the story tonight, everybody. Anything else, Alex? Any other players you are high on this upcoming week? Any other players that you don't want to play this upcoming week?
Players I don't want to play. I wouldn't play any receiver from the Pats if anybody has. I'm trying to think.
Mondre came out.
Mondre's a dog, yeah.
I didn't see that.
He's a dog. I think players you're gonna have to be kind of worrisome for is like a guy like Tua, where he can put up
cold, man.
That's so like you can put up big numbers, but he's gonna be scary. That's he might have a Herbert type finish where he might get you like 7 or 8 points. I mean, it's.
Would you rather play Tua or Kirk?
Kirk. Wow. I feel safer with Kirk right now.
Wow.
Like Kirk's had a bad half, a really bad half,
and then he was QB1.
Kirk's just got like he's a veteran. He's got the weapons are very similar. Besides, like he's got Dalvin Cook to rely on. I mean, I feel confident with Kirk. Honestly, like the next 2 games, the Giants and Green Bay, like I feel really comfortable with him playing against Green Bay. I mean,
100%.
You have a healthy Adam Thielen. Osborne's starting to look really good.
Mm-hmm.
You have Hawk, and you're hoping the chemistry just gets better. You have Dalvin Cook. With Tua, it's like the running game is hit and miss. The tight end game has just been pretty much non-existent. And then you have Hill and Waddle, but Waddle can have some games where he doesn't show up. I just feel safer. At this point in the year, I would feel safer with Kirk than Tua.
Yeah, it's hard to argue. Ride the hot hand, right? Kirk's hot, Tua's not. So
yeah,
we know
how playoffs are.
I think you're right, man. You just got to play who's kind of rolling at that point. If any of you have questions about your starting lineup coming up for this upcoming week, please DM us. We're always on there looking at all that sort of stuff. So get them into us. We can get them on the air next episode, probably tomorrow or Wednesday. We can get some of those questions for you guys. So get them in. Hopefully you guys made it through this week onto week 2 of the playoffs. Let me know when I'm cutting out, because I will start cutting out. Good?
Yeah, you're good.
I'm good. If you guys don't follow us, check us out on @dadbotfs at Twitter. We are on YouTube and Twitch, Dadbot Fantasy Squad. After this, I'm going to upload the audio to Spotify, Apple iTunes, Google Music. Any other ones, Alex?
All of the major networks.
Alex got it.
CBS,
enjoy Monday night, everybody.
NBC.
I'm Rob for Alex. This is Dadbot Fantasy Squad. Have a good one.